Today we are going to be talking about preparing for careers in healthcare and how to do that while being at John. We also probably have a few guests from staff and through the Weeks of Welcome programming. So welcome to all you freshmen, if you're any of them in here. And so I am Edgardo Sanabria-Valentin. I am the Associate Director of PRISM, and I also serve as the pre-health advisor, or the health careers advisor to the college at large. So I work both with science students on PRISM programming, but also with all students at the college that are interested in pursuing careers in health. So let's start discussing what are these careers, and there you go. So in general, you can define them as into categories: those that require postgraduate education, meaning they require you to graduate from your bachelor's and then complete either master's or doctorate. On this case, the case of the column on the left is doctorate. Or there's the allied health professions, which some of them are bachelor's degrees, some of them are master's degree, or some of them are certificates. In general, postgraduate doctorates in the US are split between medicine, and there are two degrees that lead to that, either on allopathic medicine, that's the MD degree, the one that's the most common, and then osteopathic medicine, which is the DO degree. Both of them practice medicine exactly the same. The education process is exactly the same. The residency process is exactly the same. DO is a very American way of practicing medicine. It is very patient-centered, and they have adapted with the time, and now they like to say that they teach medicine plus. So they teach their students everything required for you to practice medicine, and also the practice of osteopathic manipulation, which is where this practice came out, which is how to manipulate the osteopathic and the muscles, and how to manipulate the body to help it recover. And they have really gone and invested a lot of time and effort on proving that this method works. Actually, I changed my physician is now a DO after I learned about it. I didn't know about it because when you hear about TV shows and ER and Grey's Anatomy, it's all MD, MD, MD. DO, it's also as competitive to get into, and also a very and very it is also an alternative way to get into the career. Um, the other one is optometry, and those are doctors of the eye that are the ones, for those of you like me that wear glasses, those are the ones that evaluate your need for glasses or correction with either contact lenses, glasses, or refer you to surgery. Medicine per se has subspecialty of ophthalmology. Both of them are very similar. So for optometry, you just go for the 4 years and then you're an optometry doctor or OD. For ophthalmologists, you go through the MD process and then you do a residency and potentially a fellowship to become an ophthalmologist. So the process is a little bit longer. The main difference is that ophthalmologists, I believe, can do surgery, while optometrists cannot. The other career are dentistry. And in the US, there are two degrees leading to careers in dentistry. There's the DDS, which is a doctor of dental surgery, and the MD, a doctor in dental medicine. DMD are the ones, the general, the common dentists, and the doctor of dental surgery are the ones that are the periodontists and the ones that have particular specialties that get in there and do dental surgery with your gums, and in some cases, preparing and installing artificial teeth. Um, the other career is podiatry. Podiatry is then anything under the knee. And if you think about it, when you look at your body, although we like to think that we have to see, we have to talk, but really, if you cannot stand up, it's something very, I'm sorry, let me put it this way. A lot of problems with healthcare reflect on the way that you stand up and the way that you utilize your limbs. For example, diabetics. Diabetics, a secondary characteristic of diabetic conditions is a lot of problems with your circulatory systems, and your feet are very quickly affected because you get stones in your feet where you lose nerve function, you lose adequate supply. Also, as you age, you require you lose your balance, and that can be corrected by wearing particular shoes. And in this career, again, podiatrists both prescribe medication and do surgery, but specialize on that, specialize on maintaining the patient's gait and making sure that they can move. Uh, the next one is pharmacy, and these are medical professionals that work in conjunction with other types of medical professionals to administer, create, or compound, that's the actual term, medications, combine them. And there are different ways to practice pharmacy. It can be in community pharmacies, so the ones that you go to in community pharmacies, or supervise the pharmacy department in big chains, or work in medical practices in the hospital, where you work in particular clinical teams with physicians, with physician assistants and nurses to care directly for the patients. You can also work in industry and manage clinical research onto medications, and for that you will be working for the pharmaceutical companies or for the government here in the US, the FDA. And finally, veterinary medicine. It is healthcare, just because it's our little friends, our pets. And there are also many ways to practice. There's the traditional vet, which is the one where you take your dogs or your cats. There are big animal vets, which work with farm animals or larger animals. And then there are other ones that specialize on wild animals or wild animal care, or in particular populations or geographical locations. Then there's the allied health professionals. Those are the ones that provide team support, and frankly are the ones that really take care of the patients. Among them, there's a physician assistant. Physician assistant used to be a bachelor's degree, now it's a master's degree, but requires you to complete a bachelor's degree before you, and complete a certain level of prerequisites before you go for that master's degree. And they do pretty much the same as a physician does. It's not that they're assisting them, is that they work with them as a team, and they're the ones that really take care of the patient. The only difference is that there's certain medications that they cannot prescribe, and there are certain decisions that, because of licensing and really regulations, are reserved with someone with a doctorate, but their profession is relatively different. Well, most MDs and DOs are subcontractors of hospitals, for example. Gastroenterologist doesn't get paid to see you. They get paid in a hospital. They get paid to do a gastroscopy on you. They get paid by procedures. Physician assistants get paid to see you. They get paid for a shift. They get paid for work. They're actually employees of the hospital. That comes with their pluses: a more regular schedule, a more regular paycheck, frankly, a relatively good paycheck too, and also insurance. You're an employee of the hospital, so the hospital is responsible to insuring your practice, not yourself. The next one is nursing. Nursing, of course, is a very appreciated profession, and also it has many categories. Personally, I don't work with pre-nursing students. My advice is, if you're interested in nursing, CUNY has a School of Nursing at Hunter. They're very good at that, and you have it. It's across town. So why would you stay at John Jay if you want to do nursing? You can go over there and start right now. But there are various levels, as associates, bachelor's, master's, and PhD degrees. You can actually be a doctor in nursing. And there are many, many other careers. How do you find out about them? The internet. Google is your friend. So explorehealthcareers.org is a great platform that I really like. This website, let me give you the link. ExploreHealthCareers.org was founded by the American Dental Education Association. And they got a grant from the government to create this portal that was going to describe all the different careers. They were going to describe, actually, let's go to the website right now since I'm in here. Um, it was created by the American Dental Education Association as part of a sponsored program that they had. And then they lost their funding, and another company asked them and purchased the website from them, and they maintain them. Because of that, it has a couple of things that are extraneous to it. For example, uh, it has ways for you to look for current positions in healthcare. This is a great thing if you're interested in becoming traveling nurse for operating a room or a nursing supervisor. You can start looking at these job posts and start seeing what are the responsibilities of the job, what are the requirements, what are other skills you should be developing, also a little bit about the environment where you're going to be working on, and the certification or education that you require to pursue that career. If you want to become, you can also look by keywords, because I know this is popular with you guys. Forensic technicians, uh, forensic accountants. So here it goes a little bit. This is not a health career, so they go a little bit above and beyond. But you can use this to start exploring what are these careers, what are the careers available to you. Uh, I'm sorry, I only have one screen now, and the Zoom stuff gets on the way. There you go. So it gives you a good opportunity to start learning about what those jobs per se actually entitle. But it has good texts that are maintained and are written by experts that they hire that talk to you about what careers in health are, what uh, um, and okay, expect a little bit more here, but also the Career Explorer goes a little bit more about types of different health careers. Uh, Also career search, where you can then start exploring on their database what are these different careers, and they're gonna give you some information, including the average salary based on the Department of Labor, amount of training you're going to require, and the job outlook. Job outlook as defined by the Department of Labor is in 7 years, are we going to need more, a lot more, not that many, the same or less than what we have right now. It talks to you about the working conditions, the requirements. It guides you through websites that are required for you to apply to postgraduate programs or to these programs. Um, You can also, if you go to the main page, over here, it goes by different descriptors also to look at different careers on these different, the main clusters of professions within each one of the careers. Um, it's a great tool to start exploring and to start figuring out what different careers are there and what are opportunities are there for you. So that said, so what do you guys want to be when you grow up? Feel free to turn on your camera. Feel free to turn on your mic if you want to chat. Tell me, what are your plans? Why are you here?
Hello, Dr. Ed. I would like to apply to medical school after I finish my graduation.
Medical school?
Yes.
Okay. And what year are you on now, Sabrina? I know we've talked before. I recognize your name. I think I had you in my class, don't I?
Yes, I'm on 212 microbiome lab.
Yeah.
Right now I'm a senior, so I have one semester to finish. So, and then I'm planning to take the MCAT right after I finish my graduation and apply to medical school.
Okay. We'll talk a little bit about the process of applying and what you should be doing to prepare. I have from Alexandra that also wants to go the MD route. Again, remember MD and DO by now, the process is they merged their residency and fellowship process in 2016. I can guarantee you that in 10 years is going to be, they're just going to merge the whole thing. So don't restrict yourself only to the MD by restricting yourself to the schools or certain type of programs or certain schools. You're lowering your chances of actually getting into the career. So look into it. Anyone else? There are names here I don't recognize, so I am gonna call you on it. Jennifer, I've never seen your name, so how you doing and what are you planning to do when you graduate? Okay, maybe Jennifer doesn't want to talk. I'm gonna call and I'm going to try to pronounce your name right. Shitlali, did I say it right? How about you? What are your goals? What are your plans?
Hello. Yes, you did say it right.
Yeah,
And I don't know. I just wanted to go to medical school because I'm just interested in it. Like generally, it's something I want to accomplish for myself.
that's great. Okay, so we're gonna talk also about your motivations and why you should be making sure that you figure out what is it that you want to do before you start signing up for MCATs and really investing a lot of time and effort. And by the way, when I saw your name on the first Junior Scholars workshop, I texted a friend of mine who is from Puebla, and she told me your name means star. And I know how to pronounce your name because she says that she's a Chingona and she spells Chingona with an X. So I know how to pronounce that. I just wanted to tell you why I wanted to make sure I pronounce it right. Anyway, so I want you guys to start thinking about this, and I want you to ask yourself, what do you know about the health profession you're thinking about? What do you know about the practice of medicine in the U.S.? What do you know about becoming a physician? Uh, Very important also, why do you want to pursue this health profession? And it is the only way to accomplish this. Something that is a common talk among free health advisors, and by the way, I go every few years to conference with a lot of free health advisors nationally, and we sit down and share our experiences with you and realize you all go through the same. Is a lot of you guys tell us, I want to go into medicine because I want to help people. I want to go into medicine because I want to impact people's lives. I want to go into medicine because I was impacted by someone because of my health, and I want to be able to return that. So here is the question that follows this. This is the only way that you can accomplish this. Does the career that you envision matches the reality of what the career is? Why? Different careers have different levels of preparations and prerequisites. And I've been now at John these 7 years. I would like to say that I have a good understanding of our students. I spend a lot of time talking to you guys, and I know you guys have jobs, families. I mean, 90% of you have a job. I'm like, I think it's like 50% of you work more than 20 hours a week. So you have to take that into consideration with the reality. I'm not saying that that's a reason to abandon your plans. I am saying that you need to take into account the reality on how you plan getting into the career. And here is where my years of age ahead of you, by the way, I just turned 40, so I'm feeling it. Uh, if you allow me, I will provide some advice. Life is not a sprint. Life is a marathon. If in a marathon you start running very fast at first, you increase your chance that you fall, and you increase your chance that you're gonna get exhausted and you're not gonna finish. To win a marathon, you have to go steady, 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 and then at the end is when you take the big leap. So I strongly encourage you to make your plan instead of need to do this now. Take your time. Your career as a physician or as a medical professional or a healthcare professional is going to be 30 years. Take an extra year or two to figure it out and get it done well instead of try to hurry and do it now. Also very important, what do you know about how to become that professional? Very important. Why? It's your job to become the best candidate for the application process. It's not my job to turn you into a best candidate. My job here is to make sure you have as many tools available as I can find and that John Jay allows me to give you or pays for me to give you. And also to make sure that if you have questions and you cannot find an answer, that I can guide you through the process. That's my main job as a pre-health advisor. Becoming a good candidate for applying to that particular program is your job. So how can you learn about all this? The internet. You can either shadow or meet with professionals on those professions to talk about what is it that they do on a day-to-day basis. Uh, there are other experiences, like we'll talk about summer programs for pre-meds in a bit. And there are many programs out there. If you use Google, there are organizations out there that have programming or YouTube channels or many resources to educate students and to give students additional information about what really is the career. And I'm going to point to you to a few resources that PRISM has created for you to explore your career. Stuff that we did this summer that we're posting on YouTube and that we're hoping to next summer actually do for all STEM science students in the college. We'll see how that works. So the next step is to figure out, is a health career right for you? All health careers have stuff in common and have stuff that are different. All of them work with people one-on-one, and all of them take care of people that are sick or people that need help. All of them have various regulatory bodies that determine what is the type of preparation they need. And all of them are also going to have best practices of what are they allowed to do and how to do it better, best, and to what aspects of the job do you go and ask for help from a different professional. You are all are awesome, think because you want to do this, and your motivation is because you want to care for people that are sick. I can tell you, at least from my experience, when I get sick, I'm a cranky SOB. So I really appreciate that you guys want to volunteer to take care of people that get angry and pissed off when are sick. So thank you very much. So here's a couple of questions that in general can help orient you to figure out if this type of career is right for you. Are you comfortable in a fast-paced healthcare setting? That is the one thing that medical TV shows get right, and is that you're always in a hurry, you're always on your feet, you're moving from patient to patient. That is very real in healthcare. Uh, Particularly when you work in a hospital and you work with a lot of patients in private practice, it's a little bit slower pace, but most physicians that have private practice also work as hospitalists. They here too at a hospital to keep their affiliation with a hospital, so you're going to be in the hospital regardless. You want to make sure that you're comfortable working with people that are different than you, and you know that can be harsh. Uh, it can be both people that have costumes that are very different from you. It might be that you have to care for people that actively dislike you. What has come up, particularly in the last 4 or 5 years, is that people have become more vocal about who they dislike, and for some reason, we have lost our civility, and they have actually no issue. It frankly happens on both sides. Telling you how you feel about the other to their face. It used to be very much hush hush, and now it's a little bit more direct. So you want to make sure that you can stand that, and that this is not going to completely throw you off. So you want to make sure that you're comfortable working with people that are going to be experiencing discomfort, pain, fear, frustration. So you have to be a people person. If you're not a people person, then there are different kinds of healthcare where you don't see patients. So maybe you want to think about that. You also want to think if you're independent and self-directed learner. Why? After you graduate and you go to practice, no one is going to be onto you, making sure you know what's the latest techniques, understanding what is the latest theory, and making sure you graduated. That's on you. And somebody's life is in your hands. So you have to make sure that you not only can maintain yourself on the top of your knowledge, but also that you can do it by yourself and that you're not going to suffer while doing it. If you don't enjoy that aspect, then also there are different careers that are going to be a little bit less self-directed that you can consider. Are you a team player? Most healthcare in the US, particularly in hospitals, is done as a team practice. So you're going to be working with people that are going to have different opinions than you in terms of what their professional expertise is. You're going to be working also with on people that are different. So you want to be able to also make sure you hold on your own and that you develop those leadership skills that are going to be required to tell someone when they're wrong and why you think they're wrong and explain your point. What lifestyle do you envision? Some careers in healthcare are 9 to 5. Some careers in healthcare are you're going to be on call for 24, 48 hours. Some of them are some medical specialties are very much have a lifestyle that's a little bit more relaxed. Some of them are, on the thick of it. Very important. Are you comfortable being responsible for someone's life? That is the biggie. That is the important one. Are you comfortable with the idea that very likely you will make mistakes and those mistakes will cost somebody their life? Sorry, their lives. It happens. That's what insurance and stuff is for. But be aware that might happen to you. No one's perfect. And the worst thing that can happen is you put yourself to that, and the first thing that happens, you completely throws you off. You have to be prepared for it. And are you willing to put in the work required to be eligible to apply? I'll tell you right now, particularly for medicine, if you think undergrad is hard, medical school is hard, applying to medical school is harder than either of those. Why? You have to get yourself and do everything in your undergrad to make yourself an attractive candidate. Plus, you have to do everything else that you need to do to become a good candidate. I just want to remind to anyone that arrived late that John Jay has a video recording policy. So if you don't want to be recorded or heard, don't turn on your mic or camera. So when you're applying to any type of postgraduate school, be that law school, med school, grad school, vet school, clown school, they're going to look at you as a whole candidate. We call that holistic admissions. The admission process where they just look at your grade in organic chemistry and your MCAT and then you're in, that's a thing of the 1980s and 90s. That's not done anymore because they realized that they were allowing a lot of people that were going into healthcare careers for the wrong reasons. So now they're trying to figure out who are you as a person? Why do you want to do this? What is your motivation? How did you choose to prepare yourself for the hardship that's going to be surviving your training and then practicing medicine? Are you ready for it? So to do that, they look at various factors, and because I'm a total nerd, I like to put everything as an equation or an XY plot. So I put this on a XY plot, and they're going to look at you in 2 different dimensions. The first one is going to, which is the y-axis in this is professional versus personal. The x-axis is your numbers versus your experiences. So they're not going to just look at what grade you got on organic chemistry and the MCAT to define your application. They're going to look at everything and make the decision based on all these characteristics. Some of them have a little bit more heft than others, but in general, they will look at the whole application. So to start with professional numbers, that's going to be the admission exam scores. Every profession has a different exam. For medicine is the medical college admission test or MCAT. For dental is the dental admission test. For pharmacy is the pharmacy college admission test. For admission for veterinary medicine and physician assistant is the graduate record examination or GRE. All of these, there are guides online, there are books online, both to understand what the test is, which is the first thing you should do, and then to guide you through preparing for them. Because so far, everybody that say hello wanted to go into medicine, I'll focus on that. The MCAT is a standardized test that measures both your knowledge in particular fields, mainly the biological, chemical, and physical principles of life, the psychological and sociological effects on healthcare, and also your problem solving and comprehension from reading. Those are the three main fields that they test you on. They're all standardized tests. That means that every day that they offer the test, everybody that takes the test on that day takes exactly the same test. That gives the schools two different numbers to evaluate you by. The score that tells them how well did you do on the test, and the percentile among everyone that took the same test that you did on that day. Are you in the top 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 percentile? As I mentioned, particularly for the MCAT, is very important that before you focus on I have to prepare for the MCAT, I have to get a Kaplan course, I have to sit down and study. Chill, relax. Before you go into that, you need to understand what is the MCAT and what is it about. What type of questions do they come? Don't wait until you start preparing and studying for the MCAT to try to learn that. Do that now. Why? You're gonna be learning a lot of the material for the MCAT as you're taking these classes, Gen Bio, Gen Chem, Orgo, Physics, and Biochem. So by understanding what type of questions come in the MCAT, what type of exercises, why are they asking you certain things, you can identify as you go through these classes, you can start to identify what is important and what is not. So for the MCAT, the AAMC, which is American Association of Medical Colleges, is an organization that sets medical education standards across the U.S., admission to medical school, residency and fellowship matches, and a lot in your life, if you decide to go into medicine, going to be involved around the AAMC. So might as well start spending some time there, and we're going to go to the website in a bit. So they put together the official guide to the MCAT. Again, this is not a prep book. It's a book that tells you everything about the MCAT, from what to do the day off, what to do the day before, how to register for it, what do the scores mean, how to read the scores, how to decide if you should take it a second time or a third time, how do medical schools read your MCAT scores, what happens the day that you're taking the MCAT, what happens the day after, why does it take 3 weeks to give you the full scores, how do medical schools get your MCAT scores? All of that is there. Nothing is a secret. They do charge you to get the book. I think that they should just post this online for free. Most of it is online for free, but might as well. If you have a birthday coming, Christmas and the holidays, and other gift-giving holidays are coming by, it's a good time to tell someone, hey, buy me this. Don't pay the $30, $40 that it costs. Have someone, by the way, I think there's a new edition coming next year, so you might want to hold off. If you find a second-hand version of the current version, which is the blue one, buy that for 10 or 20 bucks. There's a brand new version. It's not going to change that much. And once we open the office, you can come by and always have the latest copy if you want to compare the older one to the newer one. So this guide has 3 parts. The first one, what is the MCAT? What is it about? The second part, what can be asked in the MCAT? It has literally a bullet list of all the topics that could cover. So you can go through it and think, okay, I took this in Gen Bio, I took this in Biochem, I took this in Physics. I kind of remember this, so I'm from Physics, so I'm going to talk to Javerbom at some point and see if we can talk about it a little bit. I have absolutely no idea what this is. Let me Google it, see which professor I can ask for 15 minutes to talk about it, and see if they know what it is and can they teach me about it. So it guides you throughout your education and trying to figure out so that you know that you're hitting all the boxes on all the topics that can be asked. Finally, it has a bunch of example questions. These are not questions for you to practice. These are questions that guide you through the process of understanding a question. Here's a passage. Here's 4 questions about it. This is for question number 1. This is the right answer. I'm sorry, this is why we're asking you this. This is the right answer and why. This is why the other ones are wrong. A great way for you to get into the mind of the test maker. Finally, then secondly, you have your personal scores or personal numbers. In that case, you are going to have, it's going to be your GPA. They're going to look at your GPA in different ways because each way is going to give you different stories. And you want to look at your GPA not as a, oh my God, I got a C in organic chemistry, I'm doomed. No, look at the story it tells. Look at the big picture. Everybody has a D or a C here and there. You have a D or an F. particular an F, you can retake it. For a D, you need to make sure that the next sequence of classes you do really well so you can then make up for it. It's not the keys of that. What is the keys of that is the whole story that it tells. Are you the type of student that had A's in Gen Chem and C's and D's in Biochem and higher level classes? Or are you a student that maybe had some issue at the end, but by the second and third year, you figured it out and you will start scoring good grades on your high level classes? Um, are you the type of student that took the class once, dropped it, then took it again and got a B or an A? Then took the class, the second part of the class and got a F and then or a W, and then took it again, and then maybe that I call that a serrated pattern, and that tells you the student is not getting it on the first one, they are giving up. So medical schools are going to be very, very wary of that. Are you a student that just had an even performance? Are you a student that had a performance that went up, down, sort of circled around? Maybe everybody has a semester where they do what didn't do that well. My junior fall, my God, that was my last semester. That's the only one where I had to get a couple of W's and repeat classes. So you want to also look at your BCPM. That's biology, chemistry, physics, and math. So your science and math classes, and AO stands for all others. So did you have a really good GPA in which most of your science classes were but your all AO were all straight A's? That tells them something. If you had a regular GPA, but on those 300 and 400 level science classes and math classes, did you know, batter out of the park? So look at the big picture, look at the whole story with that. Then when we look at experiences, the next category is your clinical experiences. What is your understanding of the career? What do you know about the actual day-to-day of the career? You can gain those experiences by shadowing professionals, where you ask a professional in the field, can you spend some time looking at your work and asking you questions? I will pre-answer the question. No, we do not have any program for you to shadow professionals at John Jay. Pre-health is just me and 10% of my time. So we don't have an hospital attached to us. But there are many hospitals, there are many physicians that do it online. Start Googling it, you're gonna find them. There are many organizations also that can put you in touch with their physicians. And you can also find programs that allow you to go on rounds with medical students or with residents. Also can be your personal experience where you're in the hospital, somebody that you love had some issues and needed to be cared for. That counts, but still doesn't really show you the actual side of the practice. So that can be part of it, but cannot just be only that. And also you can find paid employment as an EMT, as a nurse assistant, as a phlebotomist. Some of these are gonna require additional training. Those are popular ways to do it. Also as a medical scribe. There are many jobs out there that you can take a couple of classes here and there, pay a little bit to get trained, and you can start getting those jobs as a student or right after you graduate. The point of getting clinical experience is, let me put it in 3 different ways. First and foremost is for you to be aware of what is the job, why do you want to do it, why do you want to go into it, and do you understand what is the day-to-day basics? Does it match your expectations? By now, you've probably realized that sometimes we expect that we're going to really like something, and when we get to it, I don't know if I like it. It's the same with this. You cannot wait until they drop you in the floor to take care of someone that's sick. You need to do that now. And these are different ways to do it. The second one is because you want to demonstrate that medical schools want to make sure that the students that they let in know what they're getting themselves into. They're prepared to go into the floor. They're prepared and they know what they're going to do, and they're prepared for it. Remember that medical schools in general admit 4 out of every 10 candidates. This is without looking at GPA, this is without looking at MCAT, and without looking at clinical experiences. That's just the numbers. So they can give themselves, they have their pick. So they're gonna go for students that understand and can talk about why do I want to go into this field based on what I know and experience firsthand. So there's not a minimum requirement. This is not about I shadowed a doctor once and I'm done. This is about This is not about numbers. This is about you being able to demonstrate to them, not to me, I don't care. It doesn't really make that much difference to me. It's for you to demonstrate to them and to yourself that you're ready for it, that you know, and that what you know matches your expectation of what you're going to be doing. Uh, Nightmare scenario here is not that you don't get into medical school. Nightmare scenario here is that you go to taking all these classes and taking the MCAT and going through the admission process, paying the $100 per school in average, paying to travel if you have to interview in a different state, uh, uh, get yourself into a $250,000 in debt in medical school student loans. By the way, that should never be an issue. 99.9% of all physicians pay their student loans on time or earlier. So if you get into medical school, right now what you should be worried is having a good credit score so that you can then get a good interest rate and pay that med school the med school loans as fast as possible, and you don't end up paying a lot of interest. Then the third factor is very, very, very important, and it's not a joke at all. Medical schools want to make sure you're not going to find a side of blood. Again, it's with the expectations. It's with, you know, we can imagine that we would like to see autopsies or work with cadavers and crime scenes until you're in a crime scene and you can actually see that and you see the bullet hole and you see you don't really know. That was one of the experiences that really told me that I personally, no way, Jose, I was going to go into medicine. I went to see an autopsy. And the first time I had to pretend I was in a butcher shop just to be able to stand upright. The second one, they had to drag me up because I was about to faint. The smell, the smell. Ugh. So this is what we call in the business the unwritten requirement. No medical school is going to require that you do 100 hours of shadowing under this type of physician or this or that. But they expect you to do it. They expect you to do the most of it, and they expect you to do it so that you get to understand what the profession is. Finally, the last box, personal experiences. That is everything else. This is the one where I don't write anything. This is you, your story. Why do you want to do this? Why do you want to go into this profession? What is it about your personal, your family history that has driven you to this point? What have you done personally to prepare for it? What are you expecting to do? Where do you want this to take you? And the only way that I can explain this is if I give you an example, and for this, I would do myself. If I were in your shoes, I'm a diabetic. I'm a type 1.5 diabetic. I have an autoimmune condition that my body is slowly killing my own pancreas. Sadly, it misbehaved. I cannot do anything about it except try to enjoy it while it lasts and before I have to be shooting insulin every day. So in that sense, you want to, if I were in your shoes, I would be shadowing an endocrinologist. I would be volunteering with a podiatry and exploring podiatry as a profession. Why? As a diabetic, when things get bad, I'm going to have to be going every 6 months to a podiatrist because podiatric foot diseases is a very, very serious thing, and I do not want to lose my feet. So I would, if I were in your shoes, I would be considering volunteering or shadowing a podiatrist that treats diabetic foot diseases. I would be looking into the American Diabetes Association or Friends of Diabetic Kids or something that I can volunteer and give back to my community so that I can learn more about the needs of the community and I can use that to inform how I'm going to train as a physician. I'm a total nerd, so I would be looking for a lab that works something related to diabetes, and I would be, even if it's cleaning dishes, I would be trying to volunteer. I would be looking for programs or for something that exposes me to learning more in depth about the medical aspect of diabetes. Personally, I know it very well as a patient. I would like to and talk to particularly, I would be talking to my endocrinologist more often than I do personally. And finally, I would on when biochemistry, when Professor Domachevsky talks about the sugar control in eukaryotes and how they use hormones, both insulin and glucagon, to control both your appetite and your the sugar balance in the blood. How does that work? How does the signaling work? And then afterwards, I'm going to go out to the office hours and I'm going to come in with questions. I'm going to be sitting up front in the class. I have that I have that I have read, and I'm gonna go to that professor with papers, with journal articles, with and questions, so that afterwards I can go to them and tell them, hey, so in a year I'm going to be applying to medical school, and you can write me now a great letter of recommendation after having this conversation, right? So if you know what fits in that box, you can use it to inform both what classes to take. You can take a elective, you can look for classes online, you can learn more about it, and also your clinical experiences. Not going to affect your admission exam, but at least you can use it to guide you so that your application down the line looks more coherent. It actually makes sense, meaning that you don't write about wanting to be a surgeon, but you volunteer with a clinical practitioner and a podiatrist, and you in surgery, I don't know, in Gen Bio 2, where you were actually doing dissections, you failed that lab. So you want to make sure that you know your admission makes sense, and understanding what fits in that box is going to be what can help you. I forgot that I had an animation there. So here are the tools that you have available to you at John Jay. I run a listserv. If you're a science student and a PRISM student, you get emails from me, from the SciDeps student listserv. I have run a second listserv for pre-health student that comes from pre-health advising at listserv.jj.cuny.edu. If you are not enrolled in that listserv, send me an email right now. And my email is send me, oh, hold on. Okay. So send me an email and I'll subscribe you. It's about one email a week in average. Some weeks it's gonna be 3, some weeks it's gonna be 5, and then you're not gonna hear from me for a few weeks. It depends. What I do is I subscribe myself to every mailing list in the planet, and I sort around and look for events, look for programs and opportunities that should be of interest to our students, and I send them forward. Just like I do for the side department, where I look for internships, I look for jobs for students in our majors, and I send them out. Then the other one are the prerequisite courses. We have the most common prerequisites for medicine and the most common prerequisites for most other classes. I will tell you, every medical school, every nursing school, every optometry school has its own list of prerequisites. So don't come to me asking me what classes you have to take. Go spend your time looking at the schools you're interested in, figuring out what the classes are, and then come and ask me which class at John Jay meets this. That's where I can help you. If you are not a science major or a science minor, you have to request permission from the science department for each course. That's a particular administrative stuff that we have put to protect students at John Jay, because we had a lot of criminal justice students that would enroll in Gen Bio and Gen Chem and then fail or drop out when they should be taking our Gen Science classes, like the science of food, of cooking, and I don't know, from the Big Bang to something else, which are classes in science that we design for non-science students. We also have the Math and Science Research Center, and they cover most of the prerequisites for medical school and other health professions. We also have a resource library at the library in the reference section. The library, of course, is right now closed. Once it opens, it's there. I can help you with application problems. Once you decide to apply, you can make an appointment with me, and you can make an appointment with me at any time to discuss anything, any particular specific topic. And I can help you, talk to you about personal statements. I can review your personal statements. I can talk to you about who should be your recommenders, who shouldn't be your recommenders, when to submit, when not to submit, when you should be taking the MCAT. By the way, the answer to that question, to those two questions, is you take the MCAT when you're ready for, and you start your application when you're ready to apply. You tell me when you are going to be ready, and then we can come up with a plan. I don't tell, I'm a scientist at heart. I will reply, I don't give straight answers. I generally turn it into another question that asks you for you to come up with your own conclusion. Then lastly, John Jay doesn't have a pre-health committee that's available in some other schools. These are schools that prepare a lot of pre-health students. As you can see from this session that I advertised through SASP, through PRISM, and through the science department, there are 7 of you. Generally, I see around 50 to 60 students every year. This year, a lot more. I think it's because everyone's on Zoom, people are less shy. I'm hoping that stays, but I've been, and every year I have around 1 or 2 students that apply. If they apply after they graduate, I don't know unless they ask me. I am here after you graduate. I'm still here. I'll help you. Just be aware that if you want my help, you want them to ask me on time because like everyone at John Jay, I have 3 different jobs. I work for the science department as a pre-health advisor. I'm also the PI to one of the grants that runs PRISM and the associate director of PRISM. So you want my help, you have to hit me ahead of time. You come to me the day of, I'm not gonna get to it. So we don't have a committee, so we don't produce committee letters, and you will read as you explore about the application process that you can submit your recommendation letters in 3 different ways: through committee letters, through package letters, or through individual letters. Options to you are the individual letters and the package letters. Individual letters is when you ask your recommenders, hi, would you write me a strong letter of recommendation? Yes, okay, you go into the AMCA system, put their email address, they get an email with a link, and they write the letter of recommendation and boop, upload it, and then you assign that letter of recommendation is gonna go to A, B, C, and D medical schools. Bam. The other one's a package letter. Package letter means that I, on behalf of John Jay, received your recommendation letters from the college and up to 1 from outside of the college and package them together and upload them on your behalf to AMCAS. There are pros and cons for both. By doing them individually, you have full control over the process. You will know which each letter is uploaded. You can check which one hasn't been submitted and just go and remind that professor to do it or that person to do it. You can also be aware any faculty member at John Jay that is working on a letter of recommendation for a pre-med student, I will work with them. You need to tell them that I am open to work with them. Why? I do a workshop every year in Faculty Development Day about letters of recommendation for grad school, med school, and law school with the Pre-Law Institute. And so far, I believe 15 faculty members at John Jay out of the 100 and something have attended. Letters of recommendation for medical schools have their particularities. So, and I am happy to, they just have to email me. I will review it. I will talk to them. I will point them in the right direction, but they need to contact me because I cannot, they're faculty members. I cannot tell them how to scratch or where to scratch. I cannot tell them, don't have the authority to tell them how to do anything, but I'm here to help them if they want to. So suggest to them that if you've never written a letter of recommendation for medical school, remember that we have a pre-health advisor here. I'm happy to introduce you if you've never met them. By the way, I've introduced myself to everyone in the call. Still, half of them don't know who I am. So those are the benefits of the individual letters. The package letter, the pro is that I read all the letters, and if one of them doesn't include what I believe is the magical statement, the student will be an amazing physician and or optometrist and or whatever it is because of blank, then I send them an email and tell them, hey, would you like, we find that letters that go over this and follow these guidelines, sometimes medical schools like it when faculty write about this. Would you be willing to update or do you have time to update your letter? About 1 out of 5 reply, 4 ignore me, and a couple always get angry, like, what, you don't think I cannot write a letter of recommendation? To which I say, no, it's what your call, it's your letter. It is also your job to make sure that you get strong letters of recommendation, and you get that by asking for strong letters of recommendation and making sure that whoever faculty you're meeting and asking for, that you they know you, they know who you are, and they know who what your plans are. Why are you applying to medical school? Offer them help, offer them whatever they want, your personal statement, a resume, assignments that you have done for them, so they remember you. They can talk about about your about the particularities of what you want to apply. Last note about recommendation letters. It's your job to make sure they can write you a strong letter of recommendation, not them. It's your job that they get to know you, that they understand. So you have to talk to them. Faculty are here to teach, to do research, to serve in committees, and also to work with the students. But there's no way for us to grab all of you and sit you down and meet you. So it's your job. Every time that you go into a new class, I want you to come into that first class thinking, this might be the person that writes me the strongest letter of recommendation that I get in my package. So make sure and make it your mission they know who you are. Participate in class. Go to office hours just to chat. Bring in an article that you found interesting, something related to the class, discuss it with them. Trust me, they're going to appreciate that. Office hours are not for us. Office hours, which is something that for some reason they won't change the hours, office hours really are open office hours. Those are hours that we are required to have to talk to students in our classes. So don't be shy about using them. And also get to know us. That way you get a letter of recommendation that is not generic. And this student who came to all my classes and got an A. GP. This student is amazing. They talk to me. They always participated in class. I remember this one assignment where they wrote that they went above and beyond. They showed their critical thinking skills. They gave a presentation that completely blew open the mind of everyone, and it pushed the class in a whole different dimension. Which of those two letters you think people admission committers are going to like the most? So it's your job to make sure that we can write you that letter of recommendation, not ours. Finally, any of you not a science major, there's no problem. You can remain in your major, and to take your prerequisites, you can minor in biology or chemistry, or you can finish your bachelor's degree at John Jay and remain as a non-degree undergrad and take those prerequisites, or you can look for post-bac programs. CUNY has one at City College in which basically they help you enroll in these classes and you get full access to their pre-health advisor, which is at City College. It's a full-time position with an actual office and staff and money and activities and events. So if that's always an option, you know, it takes about 2 years. I have a list of these common prerequisites. If you want it, you can send me an email and I'll forward it to you. Actually, hold on. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put it on the chat. So you all have that. You can download it from there. Hold on, that didn't work out. Okay. That's why. There you go. So the first page is the common prerequisites for medical school. The second page is the common prerequisites for other health professions. There are some notes there. If you have questions, you can always ask me. But remember, this is common prerequisites. Every medical school has its own list. It's not my job to know all of them. It's your job. My job is to make it help identify them at John Jay, and if we don't have them, guide you through the process of getting them as an e-permit. Finally, there's a lot of outside resources. So what I'm gonna do is stop here real quick, go to the website, and the first one is WMC. No. The WMC has a great database for pre-med students, medical students, and residents. Oh, hold on, I'm not sharing my screen. Okay, so the WMC, which again is the American Association of Medical Colleges, has a great website for every step in the career and training of a physician. Has tools of how to decide if medicine is a career for you, the process of how to get into medical school, what medical school is really like. I cannot answer that. I didn't go to medical school, so the process of applying to medical school in various steps. Some information about the MCAT, the process, what does it take to attend medical schools, and what resources they have for medical schools, for residents, and for fellows. If you go to, in particular, just in terms of medical careers, they're gonna have a really good, really good articles, stories, different paths on how to get to becoming a physician. They also host a lot of events, uh, uh, both them and also other organizations that they manage there. They're on Facebook and on Twitter. They also have a mailing list, and I'm trying to figure Pre-Med Navigator. Where you can subscribe, and once a month you get an email with them with updates to their website, new stuff. You just have to subscribe to it. What else do they have? They constantly update this. Oh, they also have about financial aid. They have a calculator here somewhere that can show you how to pay for medical school. Hi, Sasha, do you mean the document that I sent or the link that we're looking at right now? I don't have it on, I'm gonna share it again. It should be on your chat, on the chat box. If not, email me and I can send it to you. So if you're planning to go into medicine, if you're planning you're gonna be involved with the WAMC from before applying to medical school all the way until you retire. So here is what you should be doing. You should be replacing 1 hour on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever is your social media of preference, and spending at least 1 hour a month, if not a week, on this website so that you can become the best candidate you can be. The osteopathic medicine has a similar one, managed by the American Association of Colleges of Osteopathic Medicine. Again, they do the same as the WMC. They work together a lot. And they have also a lot of resources for pre-med students here, including the Choose DO, where they're gonna have a virtual expo, one coming up on December 3rd. You should consider that. And one thing that they do have is, the student guide. WMC charges you for this, $30 a year for access. Here, they give it to you for free. Taking that into account, this goes over all the different colleges of osteopathic medicine. Where are they? What are the prerequisites? Has a lot of advice too. Okay, so then the other website that I like is Mentoring in Medicine. Mentoring in Medicine is an organization founded in New York City, was founded in the Bronx, and by now they've gone national. They have offices in Texas and in California, and they work to help from young kids to college students get into medical school, particularly for students from underserved populations. They have a lot of different programs. They also have a mailing list that you can join, where they send you emails. They have events, both virtual. Yes, Sasha. As I mentioned, the prerequisites are different for every medical school and every different school. The list only tells you what are the common prerequisites, that's the title, and what are the codes at John Jay. So it's your job to look at what medical school or what programs you're interested in and to figure out which ones are they. The only thing I can do is guide you to what those classes are at John Jay. Meaning if they require, I don't know, an economy class, I can guide you over what classes at John Jay meet that requirement. Anything on PharmD? That's why I ask ahead. We'll talk about that in a bit. Okay, so mentoring in medicine also. They focus on medicine, but really they are open to any health professions. Again, they have different programs where you can do. Some of them are virtual, some of them, particularly the ones in New York. The best way to find out about it is to subscribe to their mailing list, and they will email you. I think it's once a month with their goals. I'm sorry, with their activities. Then the WMC has a great database of summer programs for pre-med students. So and you can select by location, by focus, and it will give you then all the different options that you can have. And as you can say, oh, hold on, still downloading. Okay, not that. Oh, here you go. There's a lot of them. So you want to use the sorting function. Then finally, something that I found recently is the virtual pre-med shadowing on YouTube. Let me give you that link. They are not associated with John G. and CUNY, so I'm not necessarily, I'm not saying that they are a good resource, but I was looking at their video and they're actually really cool for you to get a good sense of different specialties and different ways to learn what does it take or what does a physician does day to day. They apparently have a website too. Okay. Oh, and you can find shadowing sessions on YouTube, but still. Okay. Also on YouTube is the Khan Academy. And the Khan Academy has a lot of has a lot of videos and tools, particularly a few for pre-med students where they go on videos related to prereqs and the MCAT, so you can look through it. It goes from Gen School all the way to organic chemistry. They have these short videos that are good introductions to topics. Does anybody else has any other website that they would like to share with the room about their that they use to prepare or that they have used to explore the health careers? Please put them in the share and talk among each other about it. Also, please be aware and take with a grain of salt advice from influencers or YouTubers. When I was looking on YouTube, all these people that why I decided not to go into a career in health, and all these blonde ladies on a room talking about how hard it was and why I don't care about their opinion. It's what you care. So you want to take those with a grain of salt. Whatever they went through, that doesn't mean you're gonna go through it. And just be aware, particularly influencers or YouTubers, they're getting paid to post stuff online. So whenever you're getting paid for something and they're trying to sell you something, that's when I worry. Pre-health refers to all careers in health, like the ones that I discussed at the beginning of the class. Pre-med is just medicine. So pre-health, I group pre-med, pre-dental, pre-opto, pre-podiatry, pre-everything else. Okay, so here's my ending. I'm gonna give you the best career advice I ever had. La carrera perfecta es una en la cual tú tienes un trabajo que puedes hacer bien y que te gusta hacer. So I'm assuming that Shitali and Angie know what I said, so I'm gonna translate it. The perfect career for you is one in which you can do the job well and that you enjoy doing. Blanca y Valentin Ramos gave me that advice. It was very, very important to me because it really guided me. As you can say, Blanca and I share a last name, and it's because she's my mommy. And she was she retired like 10 years ago, and she was a high school career advisor. So the joke in my family is I'm slowly becoming my mom. Whole separate conversation, but I want to point out the two things in there. First, do the job well. What are your skills? What are the skills you're going to require to be able to successfully do the job well? Identify those now so that you can take advantage of your time at John Jay to develop them now. Do you need to, for your job, do you need to talk to people? Then you're going to want to work on your personal interaction skills and your communication skills. Are you going to be have to read a lot of articles to keep up? Then you want to get in your reading skills. You want to be able to, you can now learn how to read the literature, not until you're required to do it. Start getting onto that now. Also, you're interested. What are you really interested in? And do those interests match what the job actually entitles? Think about it now and start exploring about the career so that you know what do they do on a day-to-day basis. So finally, a good way for you to explore this is to do an individual development plan. An individual development plan is a plan where you individually develop where you individually develop a plan to develop your skills, explore your interests, and explore the career that you want. It's a systematic approach. You can do them on your own. There, if you look for individual development plan online, you want to find that everybody has their own. Everybody has a different format. But a good IDP asks the questions: where are you now? Where do I want to be X years from now? And how do you get there? It takes steps that are going to require self-assessment, figuring out where you are now, exploring what are your options and what is the career. Again, the job that you want is already posted there somewhere. Don't wait until you apply to it to read it. Spend some time on monster.com, on, I don't know, looking at different companies and looking at the positions they have open. So you see what are the skills that they require, the expectations in terms of training, so that you can start preparing yourself now. Don't wait until you're looking for a job to look for that. Then in the IDP, you're going to set your goals. You're going to come up with a plan to obtain and improve those skills, how you're going to implement it, and then evaluate over time. Did I accomplish not? What am I going to do to adjust? And at PRISM, we have developed an individual development plan for science students. And PRISM. So if you go to our website and you go to students and go to current students, you can look here for the PRISM individual development plan. This exercise, this particular individual development plan, a lot of individual development plans is just an empty page with a couple of questions. Here, we're guiding you through a couple of exercises that should help you think about what are your interests, what are your skills, and what are your values? What about life and about your profession do you want? What are your expectations about it? There are some rules on how to use it. First one, don't think too hard about the answers. Usually the first answer that comes to mind is the correct one. Rule number 2, you don't have to show me this. If you want to discuss it with me, sure, we'll discuss it, but I don't want to see this. This is for you. The reason why this is for you is because I don't want you to write the things that you think I want to hear. I want you to be honest to yourself. I want you to evaluate where you are right now. The third one is read the instructions. Make sure you understand really what is it that we're asking you to do, and then do them. Don't do them in a hurry. Take out one weekend where there's no one else at home. Wake up early, make yourself a nice cup of coffee, a cup of hot chocolate, or a tea, whatever you use to wake up, and sit down and do it calmly. And then you should do exercises 1 to 4 on the same day, one after another. They're going to take you about half an hour to an hour. Do them calmly and think about it. But again, realize that usually the first answer that you think this is correct. Don't overthink it, but read it and be careful about it. Then after that, and after you complete the first 4 exercises, you get to exercise number 5, where you create your SMART goals. SMART by being goals that are specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and time-bound. Meaning that it's unambiguous. It's not, I'm gonna be a physician. There are many different types of physicians. There are many different, they should be measurable. How are you gonna know if you accomplish them? You should have an action. I'm gonna be doing this to accomplish it. It should be realistic. I have the resources, the skills, the time, or I can ask somebody to help me with this. And time bound. I'm going to accomplish this within 1 year, within 5 years, and throughout my life. Here we have space for three, only those three. You can continue working on more. And generally, most professionals is recommended they complete one of these at least once a year to keep updated. Finally is the last one, where you use each one of those goals and come up with a strategy to accomplish them. So if one of your, the skills that you're going to require to accomplish 1A is develop your communication skills, then what action are you going to take to improve your communication skills? I'm going to start reading one book about medicine a year, a month. I'm going to begin writing a blog or writing, I don't know, I'm going to volunteer to write a blog for John Jay's office of I don't know what it is. I'm going to begin doing informational interviews and whatnot. So finally, I'm going to show you a little project we've been working on. Here you go. At PRISM, we are developing our YouTube channel where talks like the one today is going to be posted. And this last summer, is the PRISM SERP, we created, hold on. Yeah, we created a series. Why can't I just, here we go. We have a few series of videos where this summer what we did was a lot of career exploration, which is what we're hoping to do next summer. And we posted a few of them online for you to look at. Particularly informational interviews are a great opportunity, a great thing for you to develop, learn about different professions. So I strongly recommend you watch that one. And I think that's it. I am here for another 20 minutes. So if anybody has questions, I know classes are about to start. So if anybody has questions, go for it.
Professor, I would like to make an appointment with you. So should I email you?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can also go to our main PRISM webpage.
Okay.
And where is it? If you go to PRISM and you go down here, schedule an appointment with, look for me. And, hold on, this one is not the pre-health one. Now send me an email, or you can just do this and find a time that works for you and find it and set up. I'll get an email, you'll get an email with a Zoom link and we can meet online.
Okay, thank you, Professor.
Any other questions, comments, nightmares, night terrors? Okay, well, thank you very much. It was a pleasure spending this hour with you, and I will see you soon.